My name is Shalini Chandra, and I work for Caltrans in Office of Capital Improvement Programming under Ram Babu. Today, in this webinar, we'll try to give you an overview of the new ePPR module on CalSmart that will help us fill project programming requests electronically. I want to take a minute to thank all the folks that helped us with the beta testing of this module and providing very good feedback. We're trying to implement quite a few of the suggestions, and we'll continue to improve the user experience. Before we fully launch into the webinar, we'll request that you keep the webinar on mute mode till the question and answer session. You can, it will minimize the background noise, as we already saw. It can be a crazy experience. If you'd like to communicate during this time, please use the chat feature of the webinar. It should pop up on the bottom of the screen when you hover your mouse. This is where you'll find the mute button too. Unless you're using phone for audio, in that case, you'll have to mute your phone. During this webinar, we'll only address general function and navigation questions. Specific questions about projects or about program guidelines should be addressed directly to the program managers. Based on the questions and responses today, we'll develop an ePPR FAQ to accompany the instruction guide, and we'll share the link with ePPR user. We'll also record this demo webinar for those who cannot make it or would like to revisit it at a later time. We'll add the link to of the recording at our transportation programming webpage. The agenda that we're planning to cover today. Hopefully everybody can see the agenda. Please let us know through the chat window if you can't see it. We'll start with a snapshot of the resources that are available to you as you navigate the ePPR form. And of course, we're here to help. Just shoot us an email or just a phone call away. We'll go through the needs and requirements for ePPR, how to log into CalSmart and its ePPR module. Then Jordan Leong will go through a test case on the CalSmart website and walk through the steps, tips, and caveats for entering data into these fields. These instructions were also emailed to you with the invite to this webinar and are linked on the transportation programming website. And it's also available on CalSmart resources. At the end, there will be time for questions. Please send us your questions through the chat window. Please mention the slide number or tab title in reference to your question. If there are multiple questions with similar concerns, we'll try to answer them together. And we'll also compile them in a FAQ for future reference. You all are used to filling out ePPR in an Excel spreadsheet. But with cycle 2 of SB1 programs, it is required that the forms are filled through ePPR tool on CalSmart for SCCP, TCEP, and LPP, both formulaic and competitive. The tool was developed by Caltrans in collaboration with CPC and is consistent with the SB1 call for project guidelines. There is logic built into the form.
There's an echo.
Marcella Clem, can you please mute your phone?
Yes. If I can figure out where to do it.
It's at the bottom of your screen if you just hover.
I see.
Mike.
Thank you. There is logic built into the form and would require that all fields is completely filled before the form can be finalized. You will have an option to save your project form in draft mode and revisit it later as you gather your data and complete details. ePPR would be prepared by project sponsor or implementing agency with help from RTPAs, MPOs, or Caltrans as required. At any point, if you have difficulty filling the form, we are here to help as well.
Can we ask questions?
Through the chat window, please. Help and resources are available for you to get familiar with the application. To get started, please visit Transportation Programming website. That's included in all our communication. The website is dot.ca.gov/programs/transportation-programming. Then click on Office of Capital Improvement Programming, OCIP. And the third link from the top is Electronic Project Programming Request, ePPR application, with links to ePPR login screen and a link to the ePPR user manual. This manual was emailed to you with the invitation to join this demo webinar, so most of you should already have it. Once you're logged into CalSmart and start working on your ePPR and need a reference, you can go to the Help and Resources section and find a copy of the most updated ePPR user manual. If you need assistance at any point or have questions, we are here to help. You can email or call me, Shalini Chandra, or Jordan Leong. Our contact information is on the invite, or you can contact us from the Transportation Programming webpage too. Logging into CalSmart and ePPR module. If you already have an account on CalSmart, log in with your usual credentials and then request access to Electronic Project Programming Request from the current program drop-down list. Once approved, you can start creating and managing your ePPRs. If you're new to CalSmart, click on Register, fill in information, your name, email, phone number, agency, etc. Don't forget to click on the box next to Electronic Project Programming Request. After that, you will get an email to validate the email address, and once your account is approved, you can start creating and reviewing ePPRs. A test case on CalSmart's webpage, so you can get a feel for how to navigate through it. Hopefully, you will have a chance to glance through the user manual and are somewhat familiar with it, but if not, we'll walk through it together. Give us a moment as we switch controls.
The program drop down for you, we have SCCP as a selection. So basically right now, the SCCP is accepting application. That's why this is available for you to check. When the TCEP programs and also the LPPC and LPPF programs are available, they will be listed as well. And you can actually check multiple programs at once. So you have to at least have one check. So I have to check the SCCP here. Then we have agency information that we need from you. There will be a lead nominee agency. There can only be one. You can have multiple implement agencies, and you can have multiple co-nominate agencies. Now, since I am associated with Caltrans HQ, Caltrans HQ has to be in one of these, agency has to be in one of these lists. If it is not, it's not going to allow me to save the ePPR. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how to make a selection. So let's say here, I'm going to select, just type in a string that helps you filter out this long list of agency names. So here I can select Caltrans HQ. Because I only have one, that's the only selection I have. I can change it by clicking and selecting any other one. It's not a problem. So let me see, I just want this, go back to Caltrans HQ. Now notice over here, it says not saved. this tells me that whatever I've typed is not saved to the system. So if you ever exit, you would lose your edits. You get a warning message, but then if you proceed, you will use your edits here. Now for the implementing agencies, because you can have multiple of these agencies, you're going to have to select and make a check mark to add to the list here. If I want to add some more, I can type in the word Metro. So the agency's name will all have Metro in them. Now the good thing is, whatever I selected here, already it has a check mark here as well. So I can actually check multiple of these. You would add the agencies to the list. In order for you to remove the agency, you would have to come here, and you could do the same thing and type in a uniquely identified text. The good thing, like I said, it would also provide you all the names that's already selected as well, so you can deselect it here. So that's how you would work the agency list. The co-nominating agency list is also work pretty much the same. So here I would say Metro, and I'm going to select LA Metro. Okay, the thing about the implementing agency is that the names that you add to this list here will be used as a drop-down when you get over to the implementing agency row section. So when I get to the implement agency row section, I would have these implementing agencies in the drop-down, so I can select them or one of the 4 implementing. Okay, if I have all the information properly filled out here, I can click on the Save button, and I can then proceed. I can then proceed from here. I'm gonna, instead of doing
quiet.
Somebody in District 5, please mute.
Instead of doing the save here, I'm gonna exit out of here. I'm gonna use an existing project that I already created. Then I can demonstrate to you how to make edits and maybe how to enter some of the data. So I'm not gonna click save here. So I'm gonna exit out using this ePPR home button, exit. If I come to here with
Juanita, please put your phone on mute.
Okay, so like I said, the creating agency, because I created them, Caltrans HQ is shown here. So basically what that means is anybody who has edit rights and are associated with Caltrans HQ can edit the ePPR. Anybody else who are in either the lead nominating, implementing agency, or the co-nominating list would have a view right. They can actually, they would see that project here, and when they click on the project ID, they would be able to view and print the ePPR, but they cannot make edits. So, so you have to, because that's how we have the user rights set up, so that certain people can edit. Only the creating agency people can edit, and everybody else basically view rights. Here, once you make a save, there are certain fields that are created to this system, and they're grayed out here. The ePPR number is generated, is unique. So if you need help and you want us to help you with a particular project, you would have to give us this ID here. So the status, basically, there's a draft. Right now, that means you can make changes to the document. When you finalize the document and you're ready to submit to CTC for part of a submittal package, I'll show you how to make this document final. We'll have a button to save as final. And then when you do that, this status field will be changed to final. And basically, this right here is the date that was last updated. Okay, and this is internal. If I go to this SCCP program. Okay, now I have a title here. I have a lead agency, Caltrans HQ. Here I have 3 implementing agencies.
Welcome to WebEx.
I'm going to show you.
Enter your access code or meeting number followed by pound.
I don't know.
117.
Okay, so I'll now show you when I get to that tab, and I'm putting Caltrans District 7 as a co-nominating agency. So the names would appear in the printout as well. So this is fairly basic. I'm going to go to the project header tab. We have 12 districts, 1 to 12. There's District 75, which is mostly associated with rail. ePPR, they're unique to Caltrans, and if you know them, put them in here. If not, just leave them blank. Here, I chose rail. It could be whatever elements that is proper, select that. The project ID and the MPO ID. The project ID is internal to Caltrans. If you know what they are, put it in. If not, leave it blank. The MPO ID here is actually an ID that you can assign yourself and to keep it tracking in the system. This is the number that is affiliated to your organization. It's here for reference. You must have at least one county selected. You have multiple counties, you can go down here and select other ones as well, but you must have at least one. And if you're gonna put in a route number and all the post mile information, you may wanna use the post mile query tool here to validate and make sure the post mile is correct. Otherwise, it can be cause some confusion. So here, I'm just going to put in LA if there's no route information. We have project manager information, the project manager name, the phone number, and after you're done inputting, you should always say save.
No, there's instructions.
How to fill out the form.
I can't even put my email because it's, yeah.
I think that, yeah, it says how to fill out the form or whatever, but
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like they're doing.
It looks like the instructions are pretty clear.
Oh, wow, we
Okay. So the next tab, scope and location. Basically, you can put in your description, location here. If you need more space, you can normally just say see additional information. You can put information additional. You can add it over here. Just put in whatever you want. Okay. Implementing agencies. Here you have to select the agency that's going to be responsible for that component. We have 4 components: PAED, PS&E, right-of-way, construction. When you click on this drop-down, when you first come in here, it would most likely be blank or needs information. You have to select one of the 3 that's identified in the General Information tab. So and you can change it whenever you want. So just select it. Select the one that you need. Same thing for the other components. After you're done, save, and you're good to go. Now, the implementing agencies here are from the drop-down that you selected from the general information. All of them have to be used. If you have extra ones, you're going to get an error message when you go to the review tab. It's going to say, hey, you have an extra implementing agencies that you did not use, so you're going to have to remove that from this list. Okay. Legislative districts. Here, basically, you need to know what number you need to enter. The best way to do is come down to the filters, type in a number. It filters up to anything that has a 9 in it. Let's say if you want to add, you can do that. If you want to remove, you need to deselect. So you can add, click out, save. If you want to remove it, you got to do the same thing, deselect, save. Okay, so that works for Senate District, Assembly, and Congressional Districts. Okay, the project milestones. This is where you put in your project schedule information. Yes, we do have required fields, and I understand there was a question regarding whether or not they are required. They are required. We're going to need to address that later. But right now, they are required. We're going to have to figure out how to address the ones that do not require it. So here we have the document type. These are various environmental document types that you can use. If you want to know the acronyms, you come over here. Anytime there's a bold question mark, you can basically mouse over that piece, and you can see what the acronyms are, and that will help you fill out the form. There are some checks in the project milestone check. We do place a check for, let's say, a begin phase and end phase. So the begin phase has to be less than or equal to the end phase in terms of date. You cannot have a begin phase with a date that's greater than the end phase. So that would be a problem. We think that's a typo, a mistake. So before you can say this, you would check for that. You can enter the date either by clicking on this thing here and selecting the date, click out of it, or you can actually come in here and type and make a change numerically. So let's say I want to change. Type 9, delete. Either way, it will work. So you can enter the date, or you can use the calendar. Most importantly, you need to save to proceed. So save, you get a little message, this project has been saved. Then once you're good to go, you can proceed to the next section. Purpose and need. Here is where you provide the purpose and need statement. If you need more space, go to the additional information section. Basically just say see additional information section. Now these are the values that are in the user instruction as well. Basically, is this an NHS, National Highway System improvement or not? You need to find out what these all mean. They are in the user instruction guide. We did provide a tooltip for the roadway class. They are either 1, 2, or 3, and they're kind of defined here. They're also in the user instruction. And basically, they're for on-system capital outlay projects, and if they do not apply to you, then just use NA. Okay, I'll go to the next section, which is the output section. Okay, the output section, there is a requirement. All projects must have at least one output item. Now, you can add the item by selecting categories. Let's say this is a rail project, and if I want to add miles of new track, then I just click on add output. Now, you notice here they say they're required. You need required input. They cannot be left blank. 0 is not a valid entry, and you can still save it and come back to this, but you would have to provide the total prior to making this document final. So that's the requirement. If you want to delete, all you have to do is come here, click on the checkboxes that you want to delete, and apply the button. Delete, save, and that's how you do this. You must have at least one. So if you try to, if I try to save this, now I have one left. If I try to delete this, it's not going to let me. When I try to save, it basically reverts back to at least one item. The message here says empty total will need to be completed before ePPR can be finalized. And I couldn't delete this one here because I have to have at least one item. So we'll proceed to the next tab, performance indicators and measures. Okay, so here we have asterisks in this column. So when you select SCCP under programs in the general info tab, all the required benefits will be pre-populated for you. So they will have asterisks in this column, but they will be blank here. You have to provide a number. If it is a numeric number, you have to provide a number. If it's require a string, we will have a drop-down, which basically it would be NA or not applicable. We have a good, fair, and poor. That's coming a rating for pavement system. But anyway, they're not implemented yet, but they will be. You would have to provide a string in those cases. For numeric values, 0 is a valid input. So you can use 0 actually. So if you want to add, so these are the required. You can always add more. If you want to add more, all you have to do is come down here, the measures, select the measures that you want, and come down to the indicators drop down. And these will be the ones that are left for you to add. So you can actually add, let's say, % change in non-single occupancy vehicle travel, and click Add Benefits, and it automatically adds to this section. Okay, you can leave them blank for now, but you will need to fill them out before making it final. I will talk about it when I get to the review section. I'm going to save it for now. Okay, so now if you have selected LPP and SCCP under the program dropdown in the general info tab, then what happens is that all of the required items for both programs will be listed, will be populated for you. And then you can add additional ones by clicking on the measures and indicators, and you can add benefits. So we do make them, we do make the required ones available here, so you do not forget that. But then again, you can also add additional ones. Now what happens is if you deselect a program that was already selected before, you had LPPC selected and you had SCCP selected, so you have the items that are actually required for both. But if you deselected one, then what happens is that and you already filled out the values, those required will become optional items. They'll be like this. And if you want to remove them, you just have to click, and you can click delete. And you have to save. Don't forget to save. Okay. So I'm pretty much done with this. And I'll probably talk about it when I get to the review print section for blank values. So now the additional information tab. Basically, this is a catch-all kind of tab. Whatever extraneous information that does not fit in other sections can be placed here. You can put the latitude, longitude information here if you want. Now, if you do not have anything that you want to, if you do not have anything here, you would need to check this box with no comments. Otherwise, the system thinks you haven't started this tab and it would not let you finalize the document. Okay. Now, the proposed funding plan is probably one of the more complicated screens that we have. Here, you see the proposed total project cost summarized here. You can click on this arrow to minimize it. It's probably, if you don't have any real estate, you may want to do that and work on other projects. Now, you can also expand these guys as well. By clicking on the down arrow, you can see what the grid looks like. If you want to work on a particular fund, you're going to have to click in the hyperlink here. And this will basically take you to the page. This is where you would provide information. I'm going to show you how to create a fund, then I'll show you how to edit one. So I'm not going to work on this right here. I'll cancel. It's going to take me back to this screen. Now, how do you add a fund? So here you would click on this button, add funding source. Now, if you come to here and it was blank, there will be like a hyperlink here that they'll say add fund source. You can click on that and you basically get to the same page. You get to this state. What you need to do is select the fund category. I'm going to say RIP. Now, you can select the fund description. If none of these match what you have, you can actually create a new fund description. You click on this, and you come over here. You can type whatever the new fund is. Okay. Since I know what it is, I'm going to select, let's say, National Highway System. So you can do this if it doesn't meet your needs. Funding agency, if you know it, select it. If not, just leave it blank. Here is where you want to type in some notes. If it's a standard fund, you do not need to type any notes, but you can type anything you want. This is okay. Okay. I'll have a message here. Now, you have to select whether it is committed or not. So, but also, if the funds are relatively secure, you can consider it committed. If not, then you have to say no. So basically, if it's an SB1 fund, SCCP that you're applying for, chances are is no. But to say this is RIP, it's already programmed, you can say yes. Okay. Now, you have to add at least one funding amount. Otherwise, it would, when you're trying to click save, it was going to tell you you have at least one funding amount. So the way to do that is you click on this, add funding amount, you get a line. You type in the year. Let's say this is 2021, and this is design, and I'm going to put 5 million. This is in thousands. So, and I need to come over here to click on the floppy disk icon to save this line. Okay. Now I can add another line by clicking the add funding amount, and let's say this 2223, and I get construction support of, let's say, 10 mil, and I come over here, and this is 60 million. And I click on the copy this icon, so this is saved, and I have to click here, save, to get all the information saved into the system. Otherwise, I would lose it all. So you have to click on save. And basically, I added a fund, and it says 5 million, and PS&E was 2021, so it's prior. I have 10 mil, 2023 in construction support, and I have 60 million in construction. And I have a little note here. This is a place for notes. So now, this is how you add a fund into the system. If you want to make an edit, you got to click on the fund name itself. This puts me into this screen. Whereas before, it was a floppy disk. Now it's a pencil. That means I can come here and make a change. Let's say the PS&E should have been 4 million instead of 5. I can do that. And I just have to click on the floppy disk icon again. I made a save. I still need to click the save here to make the save to the system. Now, PS&E was changed to $4 million. Okay, Now, the only way to delete the fund is this button here. So if you want to delete the fund, you have to open this up and click on the delete fund source button. And since I created this, I'm just going to delete this one. When you click on the delete fund source button, you will see a message, and it's basically a warning saying, hey, are you sure you want to delete the fund number 3, RIP? Say, okay, it's going to be gone. Okay, this is how you work with the funding screen. Basically, there's an add funding source button here. You have to save when you go to the funding amount. There's a save button here if you make some changes, and you have to click on the save to make sure that it's saved to the system. Now, okay, so let's suppose I want to make an edit. Here I use the custom description. So I put in a description name. I say it's committed. I have a little note here. Now, if I want to delete a fund line, I have to click on the trash can icon here. It doesn't give me a warning message. So once you click on this, it's gone. But you can always add it back by using this. So once you do that, and you have to save, that would complete my action. I've deleted that line. Let's come back. So I only have 1 line of funding amount. That's how you delete the fund amount. Now, I'm going to talk about the review and print. Here, we have all the sections here listed. No errors means you're good to go. If there's a warning message or an error message, it would be displayed. You can actually click on this to see what to work on this. This tells you some outputs not completed. Please enter all total. If you click on this, you come to this tab. Basically, it's telling me I have to enter a total. And let's suppose this is station improvement. I say 3. Save. Good. Come back to review print. Now, that was taken care of. Now I have some benefits not completed. I could either delete or enter the values. So I can click on this, or I can actually click over here as well. Either way will work. Since I'm not, okay, do I want to I'll put some information here. Let's say daily vehicle travel deduction 0.3 tab 0.4. I'll say save. Okay. Now when I come to here, I basically have a clean project, no errors. And notice this button here, Save as Final, pops up. Now, if I click on this, I'm gonna finalize this ePPR, and what that means is that you cannot make any edits. But before I do that, I'm gonna show you how the print function works. When I click on the print, I basically will receive a printout of what's in the system now. You notice there's a draft that goes across the document itself. When you save that as final, this draft will not be here. So that's how you tell whether this is a draft document and whether it's a finalized document. So as you can see, basically this is what the ePPR would look like after you provide the information, and the system will give you a printout what it has. Let's see. So we basically have the existing total project cost. We have this. This should match what we have on the screen. And this is what was proposed. SCCP state portion. This is a local fund. The title was City Bond Type B. Is committed. Funding agency was City of LA. And we have the note that I typed in, whatever that was. City bond passed on 11/6/2018. Okay, so now I go back. Now, let's say I'm happy. I looked at I reviewed all the screens, and I print out the draft PPR. and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to click on this button where it says Save as Final. So I basically making it non-editable, and I have a timestamp and all that. So when I do the Save as Final, it's going to come back and ask me, finalize ePPR. You'll no longer be able to make the changes. So I say, okay. So now everything's grayed out. I can come back to the screen here, and I can make a print. Now, there's no draft on this document. This basically is the same as before, but without the draft. And this is the document that you would print out and submit to CTC for the part of the package that you'll be providing. Okay, other than that, I think I am done. Were there any questions?
Yeah, so there were a couple. So one, Ram Babu answered, is there any way to upload information already in CTIP? And he said at this time, on cycle 2 of SB1 competitive program, the ePPR tool is not connected to CTIP.
Correct.
And data cannot be transferred. We anticipate that this feature will be available in the next future cycles.
Correct.
There's one from Shelley. Are all performance indicators measured Cal PCA outputs as well? Or are they all performance indicator measured Cal PCA outputs as well?
And Laura Pennybaker responded to that email saying that yes, it is.
Okay. And then Lewis says, will this autosave as you work through, just in case it crashes, especially given you have to click on each hyperlink, enter form?
Correct. You should save as much as often as possible.
It won't autosave,
Yeah, right.
but you can save the draft as you go.
As often as possible, yes. Click on, and when you work on a particular section, the minute you make any edits, there's going to be a not saved, up in the upper corner by the section name. Anyway, when you're done editing, you should always save in a particular section before you proceed.
Okay. Then we have one from Rachel. Can we limit or allow multiple users to work on the PPR for a single project, example, programming and PM staff?
Yes, we can.
Right. They both have to be in the same agency, because the creating agency is the one who's creating the ePPR, and the rule is that anybody who is affiliated with the agency can edit it. I don't know about you both at the time, probably could, but I don't know if you tested that piece.
I would say
sequentially.
Yeah, I think if
same document, but work on it sequentially, not at the same time.
Correct.
Then we have another from Shelley Kwan. What if you have to edit after you finalize? Do you just start over?
That's a function that we're working on implementing about creating multiple versions, but we are not there yet, or creating duplicates. We hope to have it done soon, but yes, at this point, once finalized, it seems like there is no other option. But we're right now working on creating duplicates and multiple versions and enhancing the mod.
Okay, and then we have from Rachel, CTC staff previously suggested to us that if we have SDCP project with multiple components with different schedules to be implemented by different contractors, highway component, transit component, local road component, each being implemented by different agencies under different contracts with different environment, construction, road revenue schedules for each, that separate CPRs will be needed. Is there a way to use a similar project number or somehow link them all?
Well, you can use the MPO ID to identify, your own projects per se. Once you create an ePPR, the system generates its own number. So I don't know if we can link them per se for you that way.
We can look further.
Yeah, this is like a corridor kind of concept. So yeah, sorry, I don't think we
Probably if you have multiple applications, they can go in additional information and you can notify us that way that these are the applications that are linked together, but right now there is no inherent way to connect them.
So what we'll do is at the end of this discussion, we'll combine all the questions and we'll make sure that we come up with
an
answer to each of the questions.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And Rachel asked, can we upload maps or other graphics?
I think that's also in the works, but I don't think it's immediately.
Yeah, it's one of the functionalities that we would like to work on, but we're not close to there yet.
Any more?
That's it for
Okay.
now.
So.
Do we have more questions? If you want to take turns speaking up, maybe we can risk unmuting. Or you can continue to send us questions through chat. We still have a few minutes that we can continue on. If not, we can call it done, and you're welcome to send us questions through email or call us when you need help. Okay, it seems there are no more questions, so thank you all for joining. We will post this recording on our webpage, and please reach us if you have any further questions. Thank you.